Hey George here. Today I'm going to tell you how I did 10 years and not lose my mind in prison. One thing you got to remember is it's not the end of the world. Sooner or later you're going to get out. You might get out in 5 years, you might get out in 2 years. You might get out in 10 years like I did. But it's not the end of the world. There's that's what kind of kept me motivated when I went into that place is there's other people in worse situations than this, like people that don't have their eyes, they just lost their eyes, or they have terminal cancer. I would always think about that. Like, that was motivation for me. Like, cause I was thinking like I'm a healthy person. I don't have any medical problems, and also your support group. You need a support group outside, family, friends, kids, whatever you can get your hold on. Try to have a support group. That's definitely a big help. And also keep busy. I think that's more important than if you don't have a support group out there. That's the number one reason why I never got depressed in prison. I always keep busy. I always read books. I was always reading books, novels, thrillers, self-help books. If I also what you wanna keep busy, that's gonna help you keep busy is learn another language. I learned Portuguese in prison, and that takes up a lot of your time because you're learning a whole different language. And I would read books in Portuguese. I would read magazines in Portuguese. Anything I could get my hands on that was in Portuguese, I would read it, and I'll try to listen to Portuguese music. But that's a big help. Also, try to get a job where the hours are long in prison, so you have a lot. So you have some income, a little bit of income coming in, even though they don't pay much. But you'll keep busy. That's the main point. You'll have something to do. Because you don't want to be laying down on your bunk. That's what a lot of inmates do, and that's just like we call them pigs. It's slang in prison. We call them pigs. Because when an inmate does that, that's he does that. You'll be surprised. You see inmates in there laying down on their bunk bed for 12 hours straight, 14 hours straight. I mean, they just get up and use the restroom. They go back and they go back to sleep. They take sleeping pills because it's not natural for people to sleep 14 hours a day, 16 hours a day. So they take these sleeping pills to make them go to sleep. That's how they do their time, and we call them pigs. Because what does a pig do? He just lays down all day, right? He eats and sleeps only, and uses the restroom. Don't do that. Just keep busy. Go to the library. They have in all prisons in the United States. They have libraries. Read newspapers, read gossip magazines. I mean, just read anything. It doesn't matter what you read, but reading really takes up a lot of your time. But trust me, I used to read 3, 4 books at a time. And then I went to the library and read all the Cosmopolitans, Harper Bazaar, you name it, Time magazine, National Geographic magazine. I used to read all of those. I used to hoard all those magazines. I used to get them and borrow them from people. And at one time I had like a 2 year subscription to 20 different magazines. So I would get 20 magazines. You would see me going to the mailroom with getting a big old stack of magazines. But just that's my number one tip. Keep busy. Don't think about where you're at. Don't think about that you're in prison. Just think about that article you're reading. To just don't talk to a lot of people, because you got a bunch of habitual liars in prisons, and they can get you in trouble. Just keep to yourself. That's the one. Another tip I got for you: try to keep them as most as you can to yourself. Don't give your opinion to other inmates about somebody's talking about something. Just keep to yourself. Don't get into gangs. You don't need to get involved into any of that stuff. They're just gonna get you in trouble. Stay away from those cell phones. Stay away from those cell phones. Those cell phones are gonna get you in trouble. and it can happen to anybody. It can happen to anybody. Don't use those cell phones. It's really not worth it because the people that are that are supposed to be like soldiers. They call them soldiers, lookouts. They're supposed to be looking out for the guard. Sometimes they drop their guard because they're lazy or they overslept. And you're using that cell phone. Yeah, it's nice to have a video call with your family and friends, but there's always a time when those guys are gonna slip up and they don't last long. It might be 1 year, 2 years, 6 months, and they lose. They're not paying attention, and the guard catches you using that cell phone. They're gonna take your good time away, and you're gonna end up doing 1 year, 2 years just for that cell phone. So you gotta ask yourself: is doing 1 year or even 6 months, 2 years worth it? Getting caught with a cell phone? It's really not. It's really not, because you'll be thinking about that. You'll be thinking about the time you gotta any more time you're gonna do, 6 months, a year, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Uh, I think that's about it. That's about it. Just keep positive. Stay away from people because they'll get you in trouble. Most of them. It really is like the movies. It's a lot. You got a bunch of thugs in there, and they want to get. They don't like you if you don't have that thug mentality. They don't like you, and they'll try to get you in trouble. They'll try to say something to get a reaction from you. They'll bump into you and not say excuse me. So you got to be careful. Also, you mostly likely gonna have a bunk mate. Try to stay on his good side. Stay on his good side. Don't try to argue with him. Even if you don't agree with what he says, because you gotta live with the guy 24/7, basically. Uh, yeah, I never talked to the bunkmates, but I did try to have a good relationship. I would give them like a Snickers or invite them to like a burrito or something that I was eating. I would give my bunkmate some. So that kind of kept them off my back. But that's what you want. You don't want them to be in your business. You don't want them to ask you about your family and what's going on outside. Yeah, because you got a lot of people are going through things, and sometimes you don't want to deal with any of that stuff. So it's better to keep that distance from your bunkmate, and it'll make your time go by really smooth. And if you, it's about respect. It really is about that word respect. Sometimes inmates they get too institutionalized, and respect is all of them. It's everything to them, and you have to keep an eye out on those guys, because those guys, they react violently. If you don't say excuse me or anything, they'll hit you. They'll right then and there they'll start to hit you, and I've seen it happen. Be careful with those guys. Be super extra careful with those inmates. Just be respectful to them and stay away from them too. Uh, Go to working out, man. Really work out. Try to work out every day if you can. If you don't want to work out every day, just try to work out Monday through Friday. That takes up some time in prison, and it's good for you. You get a workout. I used to try to do pull-ups, and I used to run. I used to do squats, all that good stuff. But running really helps. If working out in general, it's really good for you. It'll keep you healthy. Don't try to eat like a lot of inmates. They eat really unhealthy food from the commissary store, because that's all they sell is junk food, sodas, candy bars, soups. Go eat the prison food. It might not that be good, but they always have fresh servings of vegetables, lettuce, cabbage. They have sometimes they have slices of lemon, and because you can't buy all that stuff, they don't sell that, and they have fresh fruit. So, but I'm getting way off the subject. But just keep busy, work out, definitely work out. Read books, read novels, read self-help books. Stay away from people. Don't give your opinion on the TV. The TV can get you in trouble, a lot of trouble. I seen fights. I seen riots break out over the TV. I seen people. Man, it's crazy. I seen so many crazy stuff over that TV. They call it the one-eye monster. Just stay away from the TV. Don't give your opinion about it. Don't touch that remote control because people want to fight over that remote control. They see that you have that remote control in your hands and they'll ask you to change it. And even though you're watching something and they don't care, so just leave it like that. Sometimes you gotta ask yourself, is it worth it? And it's really not. You can always watch that TV another time. Whatever's coming on that show, you can watch it when you get out. And you won't even want to watch what you're getting, what you're thinking you want to watch. And really, it kind of it's just not worth it. Just leave that TV alone. Stay away from the TV. Gangs, stay away from gangs. You definitely don't want any of that stuff. You don't really need it in prisons. You can be by yourself. That's it. If you guys like the video, give a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be doing more of these inmate videos.